I'm going to slave these bitches. I'm going to make them work even more hours and hours and hours. I work these bitches like slaves. Slave work, minimum 10 or 12 hours a day. Tristan, first of all, your reaction to that extraordinary interview I just finished with your brother.
I think that was one of the best interviews ever conducted with Andrew. I don't know how hard you're going to go on me, so perhaps I'm making a mistake saying this. I like how you challenge your guests. I like how you seem to have a very impartial opinion on people. You don't judge things one way or another before you go into the interviews, and I think that made the interview with Andrew very interesting. I'm very excited to see the public respond.
I mean, it seems to me there's been an interesting relaxing of restrictions against you and your brother, really, from the time you were put in prison at the start of the year. What do you read into that?
Well, if you understand how the Romanian justice system works, again, I have to be very careful what I say. The pressure to put us in jail comes from not organizations. There are many great people who work at organizations like DCOT, which is the organization investigating us, but it comes from individuals, individual prosecutors who I am very much a trophy for, I would say. So the absolute obsession with putting me in jail comes from these people, but these people have nothing to do with judges, you see. At the end of the day, if you investigate me for a year and a half, throw me in jail, drag my name through the mud, eventually you're going to have to come up with a file of evidence and show it to a judge. So the people who keep letting me go are the people who've seen that file of evidence and don't have a motivation to keep me in jail. So that's it broken down as simply as I can.
In the BBC report of the prosecution files, they quote you as saying about the women who worked on your webcam business, I'm going to slave these bitches. I'm going to make them work even more hours and hours and hours. I work these bitches like slaves. Slave work, minimum 10 or 12 hours a day.
That is not true at all. So
you never said that?
No.
Or you said it sarcastically?
No, I didn't say it sarcastically at all. That is about my ex-girlfriend cleaning my house. So what you have to understand is when you go through a man's phone, you have 4 years and hundreds of thousands, millions of messages to everyone he's ever spoken to. Now this is about human trafficking, my accusation. So anyone coerced, anyone forced, anyone tied up, anyone kidnapped, anyone sold, anyone moved, none of that is in any of my WhatsApp conversations. But DCOT and the prosecutor essentially can eliminate parts of the conversation that he says are not relevant. Now, if you look at the timings between the messages on all of these conversations that look very bad, he's deleting various things, a lot of LOLs and a lot of ha-has, because believe me, if you were to read mine and my brother's conversations, even right now, you could probably accuse me of conspiracy to commit murder because of the stupid things that we talk about. I was talking about...
Conspiracy to commit murder?
I mean, Andrew, I'm going to kill you when I get home. Like things like this, which can be used, in a very negative way.
But you accept you've used language about women?
Loads. I've used worse language. But
how do you feel about that? Now it's all been laid bare.
Well, it's very unfortunate that I think this conversation is 3 years old. I think our house was messy after a party, and I was saying, "Oh yeah, she's my slave. Don't worry, I'll get her working."
Do you regret using language like that?
No, I don't, because last week my daughter's mother sent me a photo of her drawing on the wall with crayons. And I said, ha ha ha, I'm going to kill her when I get home. Now, you could delete the ha 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 because you feel that's irrelevant because you're the prosecutor, and you can arrest me and all my friends and throw me in jail for conspiracy to commit the murder of children. You could do that if you wish. But that's not the way I meant it.
No, but I'd ask a different question. When your daughter grows up,
yes,
how would you like it if another man spoke about your daughter by saying, I'm going to slave the bitch, I'm going to make her work even more hours and hours, I work this bitch like a slave. If someone said that and you saw it actually in a message they sent about your daughter, how would you feel?
Well, that's not the best message to have sent, and there's lots of
So you regret it?
I regret that.
You either regret it or you don't.
No, I don't. I regret that it became public because the way men speak to each other. If I were to go through all of your WhatsApp messages, I don't know what I'd find. And I also
you wouldn't
don't
mind
know,
if a man spoke that way about your daughter when she's older. You wouldn't mind, or you would mind.
Of course I would mind, but it depends on the context of the relationship.
Do you think it's disrespectful?
The girl I was talking about cleaning my house at the time, I'm no longer with her. And also, this conversation is not about anyone who's listed as a victim in the file, which is a very important distinction to make. The girl I was talking about, I was very in love with at the time. I had a very great relationship with at the time. If you say to your girlfriend, "Oh, come here, I'm gonna spank you," that's not, if you're her co-worker or you're a man who's stalking her, it's a very different context to if you're her boyfriend.